What is going on, guys? It's Trev the King here, and today I have for you the GPC Championship between Bob of the Cambuur Zygarden, if I'm saying that wrong, please forgive me, and Mr. Murkrow of the Shadow Valley Murkrows. Now, in the first round of the playoffs, Bob beat Matt of the Philadelphia Focus Miss, and Mr. Murkrow beat Pierre of the VCU Reshiram. Both were really good games, but here we are in the final game of the GPC season. The reigning champion, Bob, is looking to win his second straight championship here in the GPC. However, Mr. Murkrow is looking to win his first and stop Bob from getting his second straight. But looking at team matchup, we can see that Mr. Murkrow actually has a lot of huge threats towards Bob's team. He has Mega Gardevoir, which really has no safe switch-ins at all, depending on what moves it clicks. If it clicks Hyper Voice, Bob has one switch-in the form of Mega Venusaur. If it clicks Psyshock, he has really only one safe switch-in Murkrow. And even then, Murkrow cannot risk switching into a Hyper Voice. So we will have to see if Mr. Murkrow can play that Mega Gardevoir really well. And I think if he plays that Mega Gardevoir well, then I think Mr. Murkrow will win GPC Season 3 Championship. But, you know, Bob is a veteran in the format, a veteran in the GPC, and as we see the match getting underway with a Miss Mages versus Tyrantrum first turn lead. Now, we see the Miss Mages here go for the Will-O-Wisp as the Tyrantrum just goes straight ahead for the Head Smash. And that does a lot of damage to this Miss Mages. Now, I believe that is not banded damage, because even with the burn, I believe a banded Head Smash would have just straight up OHKO'd that Miss Mages. So what we could be seeing here is maybe I don't know if it has rocks, maybe it has a Dragon Dance. We could see a Dragon Dance here. We could also see a double predicting maybe the Dazzling Gleam from this Miss Mages into maybe something like Mew or possibly Azu. But we will see what these two amazing battlers will do on this turn, as Bob actually goes straight into Manaphy, and Mr. Murkrow sets up his rocks with the Tyrantrum. So the assumption was right that it was not banded, and it didn't happen to be Choice Scarfed, and maybe like it could have been possible Choice Scarfed Miss Mages. We don't know yet. Could have been Choice Scarf Will-O-Wisp to predict the first turn Choice Scarf Tyrantrum lead, possibly, as we see the Tyrantrum switch out on the Mew on the predicted Ice Beam, and that Ice Beam really does nothing, showing that this is a Spadef Mew. So we will probably see a Tail Glow here from Manaphy, and we will have to see if this is Shadow Ball Manaphy. We do see the Tail Glow, however, Mr. Murkrow does go for the Roar on his Mew, and that is excellent planning on his part. Manaphy is a big threat to his team, yet he was able to plan a Spadef Mew with Roar that even if it has Shadow Ball, it's not going to even be able to KO even at +3, most likely, after leftovers, that is. And even if it does 2-hit KO, it's definitely not going to come anywhere close to OHKOing, so he will be able to always safely get at least one roll off. And we'll have to see what this Rhyperior wants to do for Bob after the Roar switches it in. Possibly set up rocks. Maybe this thing is carrying Mega Horn. As we see the taunt from the Mew, as Bob does go for the Earthquake, making a pretty nice prediction predicting the taunt. That Earthquake does do a lot, which even though this is a Spadef Mew, Mew overall is a very bulky Pokemon, and to take almost half from a attack like that means this is probably offensive. We see the Rock Blast. If he gets 5 hits, this will knock it out. However, he does not get 5 hits. He gets 4. If he would have gotten 1 more, then Mew would have been out of the way, and that would have been one of 2 things, possibly stopping Manaphy from sweeping if it has Energy Ball. If it doesn't have Energy Ball, then Azu can possibly also put a stop to Manaphy, although I would assume that Manaphy would have Energy Ball. Although, again, you can never count out Sap Sipper or Zoomerl. You know, even a Belly Drum Sap Sipper set could be something pretty neat, because then it would completely wall Manaphy, and it would be able to kind of bait the Manaphy as well into going for Energy Ball. But we'll have to see what Bob decides to do here. He's going to go for attack, obviously, or switch out, but he decides to go for Earthquake, as Mr. Murkrow just goes for the Soft Boiled, and we'll have to see if, you know, they continue to do this same Song and Dance again, or not, and we see Mr. Murkrow switch into the Salamence as Bob gets up his rocks. Now that's a very nice play on Bob's part, predicting him to either go for the Soft Boiled or switch out, basically to go for anything besides Taunt. So now Bob has his rocks up, which means that one of the bigger threats on Mr. Murkrow's team in Thundurus, especially if it's Life Orb, is neutered a good amount, because now it can't switch in freely. If it was able to switch it in freely and just fire off hits, that would be a problem, because Mega Gardevoir and Thundurus kind of beat Bob's whole entire team by themselves. But if it, now with Thundurus having to take 25% from rocks every turn it switches in, and even the Gardevoir having to take 12.5%, that's also really big, as we do see the Draco Meteor from Mence. I was personally thinking maybe a Hydro Pump Mence, but he just straight up goes for the Draco. And that is able to take out the Rhyperior from 60%. So we'll have to see what Bob decides to do here, if he wants to try and set up with the Manaphy. If this is a Wakanberry, a Wakanberry Manaphy, this can possibly put in a lot of work. Or if it's even a sub-Salic. If it's sub-Salic and that's not T-Wave Thundurus, then it could possibly be over. But we do see the Alakazam come in, so Bob doesn't want to set up with Manaphy quite yet. He might want that Thundurus out of the way, as we see the Psychic come in, and that does a lot of damage. Salamence will kill itself from the Life Orb recoil. Now, that might have been Naive Mence, or that could have been like Life Orb Zam. My bet is probably on Life Orb Zam, judging by how the Salamence did not go for another move, like a physical move, so it might not be mixed, unless its physical attack was weak, a weak attack possibly. As we see the Azu go for the Belly Drum on the predicted switch. So that's actually a pretty nice play by Mr. Murkrow, because if Bob had just Psychic or possibly Energy Balled, that probably would have been enough damage to knock Azu out of range of the Citrus Berry healing it up, to be able to put it, to allow it to get to +6. And even if it was able to get to +6, it would be at about 1%. So that was a kind of risky play, but also a very, very good play. And now we will see if this Azu is actually Sap Sipper, because if it's Sap Sipper, which is not, we see the Energy Ball connect, the knockoff does not kill the Manaphy, because it turns out it is no item Manaphy. Very interesting move on Bob's part, which is, you know, there's always, like, for example, Shaman is like a Groudon counter because you don't run an item on the Shaman. So it's possible that Bob was expecting a knockoff Azu, possibly even banded, and he brought a no item Manaphy just for that reason. It's possible he got an item. Whatever happened, it doesn't really matter because he just died to the subsequent Aqua Jet, but still, interesting team building decision on Bob's part that, it didn't really matter, but it looks cool to say that you lived a +6 knockoff from Azu because you were no item Manaphy. So this Azu is greatly weakened, so Bob's really only play here is to go into the Mega Venusaur, because at this point, Mega Venusaur is the only thing that can really take on this Azu, and everything else will die to one Aqua Jet. So Bob is forced to go into Mega Venusaur here. Now, interesting to note that you don't have to Mega Evolve on the first turn in the GPC, unlike a lot of other leagues. In the GPC, you are allowed to Mega whenever you want. You may not even have to Mega, which we see the Giga Drain as it does not Mega. So my suspicion is that that is some sort of Chlorophyll Venusaur with a possible Heat Rock Murkrow with Sunny Day. That would be my guess. That's why, because there's really no reason not to Mega Evolve there, unless you are that specific set with a Sunny Day Murkrow, Heat Rock or not, probably Heat Rock I would assume, and a Chlorophyll Venusaur. But we do see the threat of Gardevoir come in, and Bob is just going to sack off his Miss Magus here. So now it is 4-3 in Mr. Murkrow's favor. However, that doesn't mean Mr. Murkrow is anywhere close to winning this game yet, because just because you're down, you're never out. Even if Bob was down like 4-1, it wouldn't be over. You can never count your chickens before they hatch, as a common saying goes around. So we do see the Murkrow come in here, and this might be Bob's chance to click Sunny Day here and win the game, as we see the Mega Gardevoir switch out, and we do see the Sunny Day. Now, if this is Heat Rock, then Venusaur has 6 more turns after this turn, which it switched in, to do some real damage to his team. And we see the Rock Polish on Tyrantrum. So this is an interesting situation here, because if the Tyrantrum is faster, it will be able to get off massive damage on this Venusaur. However, Tyrantrum is a good bit slower than Venusaur, so it just depends on EV spreads and natures, because if this is like a modest max speed Venusaur, then it's still outsped by Jolly Tyrantrum, I believe, if it's Jolly max speed. However, this might be Adamant Tyrantrum, or this could be Timid Venusaur. I really don't know at this point. So, but Bob is looking really, really, really good right here. He's still down 4-3, but it looks like all the momentum is on his side right now. So we will have to see what transpires here in this turn, because this could be a huge turn. And heck, if the Thundurus does not have T-Wave, which is a possibility, because in the last round, Mr. Murkrow ran a Flash Cannon Thundurus, and you might be wondering, what does that have to do with anything? What I'm saying is that it could be possible that Mr. Murkrow prioritizes having coverage over priority T-Wave, which, funny little joke, prioritizes. But they're really thinking about this move, because this is a big play in the game. So we'll just have to see what happens. I can't really say anything more, because I've pretty much talked all I can for this turn. So I guess for now I will go, I guess I'll just talk about how, while Bob's team is weakened, as we do see the growth, as this Head Smash will not kill due to the burn, as we do see the Venusaur is faster. Now, it could have possibly been a speed tie, but I highly doubt it would be a speed tie, because that would take really specific EVs. As the Venusaur does win does outspeed the next turn, probably proving that it wasn't a speed tie. Again, it would take really specific EVs. Now, if this Thundurus is not T-Wave, then I think this game is over. Because Mega Venusaur, if it was Heat Rock Murkrow, as the Mega Venusaur does go for the Sludge Bomb, the Thundurus does not go for the T-Wave. The Sunlight does end, but Murkrow can easily come back in some other time and set up the Sun. But Mr. Murkrow forfeits. He knew that he lost. At that point, he lost to the Venusaur. That was a brilliant planning by Bob and a great late game too. He was down going into those final 3 or 4 turns, but he knew what his win condition was, and that was a Chlorophyll Venusaur with a Sunny Day Murkrow combination. So, hats off to Bob for winning the Season 3 GPC Championship, his second straight. This might possibly be the first time in any major draft league, any decently sized draft league on YouTube, that a person has won 2 championships in the same league. There could have been people who won a championship in one league and the other league. However, I believe this is the first time somebody has won the championship in twice in the same league. So, whether or not that is true or not, congrats to Bob and the Cambuur Zygarden. Again, if I said that wrong, I am sorry. But congrats to them on an amazing season. He barely got in at the end of the season. It took some crazy matchups for that to happen, but he got in and he won. So I want to thank you guys for watching this epic game, and hope to see you next GPC season. Peace.